everybody. Welcome to a little rundown of our Lime Rock adventure with our hybrid 350Z. We're going to show you some of the new parts that we developed for the car, the improvements that we made, the struggles that we endured, and also Sasha almost riding off the car.
Yes,
So,
that was fun.
Yeah, and not for me. So
No.
so
Where are you?
Well,
You haven't come
he
around.
literally didn't answer the radio. He stopped showing up on the track.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
you
a
guys
50-second lap, so I should be coming by now.
Exactly. So there's nothing that spikes my cortisol more than when the
sorry.
car doesn't come around in about 50 seconds and he doesn't say anything. So
Rude.
it's rude. He should tell me if something went wrong. But anyway, so yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to get off the racetrack.
Yeah, you'll see in the video, he's just like pushing buttons. buttons and stuff.
Yeah, we needed to do a full reset. So
yeah, here we are.
So first we did some upgrades this year, which
Any?
caused some stress, some hours. So long story short, I kind of designed all these parts thinking they would be bolt-on affairs. So we did rear knuckles, and Philippe and the guys at Nicole, the machine shop, did an amazing job getting those pieces made up. So the whole rear suspension is all new. All the arms, which have all of the same philosophies we use on our Mountain Pass arms, same adjusters, the same style of reinforcements. We do not like to use rod ends around here. Everything's a sealed spherical bearing that's pressed in, and they can be changed. And I mean, if you hold a little spherical bearing in your hand and then a rod end, is very different.
Yeah, it's the same stuff that you're getting on your Mountain Pass parts, so you can count on us abusing it.
Yeah, it's really cool that we were able to use all that same style that we do for the Teslas on this car, which is producing like 3Gs cornering in compressions. So all that stuff was new. I kind of ignored some of the 3D scan, which meant a lot of chassis cutting and notching and welding, but I did that myself. I didn't put me through that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't totally plug and play, the rear suspension, but when it did go in, everything was pretty well good. Yeah. There's not a lot of adjustability in that rear suspension because we just try to make it as light as possible. So every time you add an adjuster, you just add a lot of weight. And so we already know basically what we want. We're not changing the suspension drastically. It's really just camber and toe adjustments. So and the toe is with the rear steer. So it's really just camber is the only arm that's actually adjustable back there.
Yeah.
Then we had Alex from Spage.
Yep.
Did a new diffuser for us, the exact same diffuser, but lighter. So he got it half the weight.
Half the weight.
What was it?
It was like 25 pounds, and now it's like 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Significantly lighter, and it's still pretty stiff. It worked perfectly, so that was like an easy way for us to lose the weight.
Yeah, that was the most plug and play weight reduction.
I don't really like losing weight from the back of the car, but you take it where you can get it. Yeah, Alex also made the new rad shroud and all this.
Yep, so we designed up this, historically, the car has basically had some tin-snipped, sheared sheet metal junk at the last second, duct taped or gaffer taped all to everything to seal up the front end. So that was probably one of the most like backyard aspects of the car. So this year we designed a nice duct up to the radiator, which then again required a lot of frame cutting and notching to fit it properly. So I was not popular for those couple days. But Alex from Spage made us the carbon fiber duct into the radiator, but then we 3D printed these nice air filter housings. It's like a nylon, high temperature nylon print that we had done offshore.
Sure.
But it's quite nice, the texture, and it holds up to the heat. So that has a panel filter in it. It bolts on kind of like an OEM air box, and then the hose runs up to the original air boxes that are still on the engine. So that whole assembly now is, you'll see in the B-roll, it's all bonded onto one front plate. So you've got the radiator duct, and then the two air filter housings, and also like a spare duct that we use just to blow air between the flat floor of the car and the car's steel floor to just get enough air flowing through there. We also have an aqueduct under the floor for the same reason, to just keep air moving, because of course we have the whole exhaust system in there, hot things.
Flat floor is just an oven.
Yeah, it's really hot.
When it's made of carbon, not aluminum, then you're like worried about it melting and stuff. So
yeah, it smells sometimes.
Yeah, so
probably not good for me.
No, it's not good for you. Also, when we did that duct work in the front, we got rid of the power steering cooler.
In the end, I think all the changes we did, we were about 75 to 80 pounds lighter.
Yeah. The goal was 100, I think.
The goal was 100. So, yeah, we didn't quite get there.
Whenever I see him eating lunch, I take it away.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll find the last 20.
That's right.
I don't know where.
There's not a lot. I might not be able to make it a full lap. And the front suspension too, we did new compression rod and lower control arm. So all that suspension is moved out. We still have similar size spacers, but but the wheels are moved out and further forward. They were not quite right because when we did this wide body, we moved the arches slightly forward as well. Obviously, if you move the wheels forward, you then effectively move your weight distribution rearwards. So that gave us, I don't know the exact amount, but that was a little bit. And yeah.
We got the stronger wheel bearings and hubs all around.
Yeah, we went to 370Z rear wheel bearings and M14 studs because
the M12s were like failing.
Because we had so much spacer.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Now the rear has no wheel spacer, which is great.
Yeah.
And the front, we still need wheel spacer. Just because it's a 12.5-inch wide wheel. And just to clear that upright, we have to have a lower offset than you can get available in that wheel. And yeah, the forge lines are new as well. So that's a half-inch wider in the front and a full inch wider in the rear, which is a really significant improvement for these rear Michelins. They're supposed to use a 13-inch wide wheel. So we were actually an inch too narrow last year. Can't tell, really, if the car had more grip. We made so many different changes. But yeah, the stressful thing was we went testing. And
the worst test day.
I think the worst test day I've ever had.
I think maybe we've been unusually like fortunate in our test days where everything just kind of works and it's easy. Yeah. And then this one was just like everything didn't work.
Didn't do a single lap.
We never did a clean lap. It was pouring rain. It was just a bad time.
Yeah. It was not supposed to rain. Yeah. And we had delayed our test day twice already because of rain.
Yep.
So it was a rainy year. Anyway, so we had this weird fuel pump issue, and it still actually happened at Lime Rock. So basically there's a short circuit somewhere, intermittent short circuit, and the PDM will fault out. And we've changed almost all of the wiring. I've changed the fuel pump. We've changed the PDM.
Yeah.
We've changed what outputs are on the PDM.
Connectors, bulkheads.
We haven't. That's the one thing we haven't changed the bulkheads yet. We have new bulkhead connectors, so I'm hoping there's something going on in one of the connectors. But
makes sense.
Oh, and that's the other thing we did. That whole firewall is all carbon fiber now.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work as well. I got in trouble for estimating that one wrong.
It was just recycling the old aluminum firewall stuff, and it was actually surprisingly heavy.
Yeah, and we saved some weight there.
Nothing.
Yeah,
so
we saved some weight.
It was worth it, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's all dark.
I never want to do that again.
No, me neither. That was not fun.
I just had all these nights where I would go home and use duct tape on my arms to try to get the carbon fiber out from the itching. So
yeah, we feel bad for Alex. He does it every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, until the Lime Rock event, thankfully the car did not have any issues. That fuel pump issue, it actually popped up on the first lap at Lime Rock. I had a heart attack, and then it never happened again until the end of the weekend. So it was crazy. It happened at the start and the end. But during the weekend, the car was, I think we didn't got any issues, really.
It was the lowest maintenance weekend. We had the worst test day and then probably one of the best race weekends as far as working on the car. It was literally like bring it in, put it up, take the wheels off and get the warmers on and like have a look around. Yeah. But previously we would be pulling the floor every time and checking all the hardware and drive shaft stuff. But like, through time, I guess that's what we call development, you get that stuff dialed in.
Well, that's the nice thing is the car is like, these last 2 seasons have been more about like fine tuning the little things because we haven't, although the entire rear suspension is brand new. So I shouldn't really say that, but.
And it all worked fine. So.
But yeah, it's nice that the main drivetrain bits, like the gearbox, the diff, the engine, the hybrid system have been there now for many years. Yeah. And that resolver issue thing, that failure at Laguna last year, that was a whole thing with these different laminations of the resolver, which is kind of like the position sensor. It's kind of like a crank angle sensor. Yeah. So that thing, it's a bunch of little slices that make up the sensor, this ring, and they delaminated so they would spin. And when they were not aligned, obviously you get a crazy signal. So it was just a bad design that failed because it was used attached to a gasoline engine that's vibrating. And I'm sure if it was just a motor, then those laminations would have never come apart. But now we've made a new design and they're keyed so that even if they delaminate, they cannot turn. So that was a nice reliability fix. So yeah, all in all, Lime Rock was good. We didn't quite get down to a 49. You can see some footage after we're done talking or maybe before. It's split up. I don't really know how the editing's going to go. Yeah. But
the main challenges with the time attack format there is just getting the car to the grid with hot tires
At the right time.
at the right time, which is hard because we have to start our kind of warmer and tire procedure 5 to 10 minutes before we plan on actually being trackside there. And if there's a delay, if there's a red flag, if the schedule moved a little bit, it really screws you sometimes. So we always have like at least one guy just watching what's on the track and trying to keep track of if the schedule's moved at all.
My suggestion to Grid Life, which I've made to them as well, is to do it more in like a 5 or 6 car run groups, kind of like CSCS does, where 5 or 6 cars go out, do 3 laps, and then when they're coming in, the next group goes out.
Yeah, no one is on the track for 15 minutes in that fastest run group because we all have, we have our hybrid stuff, but the other guys are boosted and everything, and no one can run that long. You get your one,
and tires go off as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that makes sense.
So hopefully that gets implemented. Maybe not for all the classes. Of course, if you're in a lower class, your car can run longer, or maybe you're learning the track and you just want seat time. But I think in the unlimited classes, the highest classes, most of the guys there, it's a very expensive per minute runtime of the car. And I would believe most would choose, give me like guaranteed clean track for less time than more time. And I'm kind of rolling the dice to see if I get a clean lap or two. Because as it is now, if everyone goes out together in a group, you're pretty much guaranteed to have one good lap if you gave yourself enough space. But it would be really great if you could have 2 or 3. And with Kels, like the first lap is usually always one clean lap. So that's great. But, it would be really nice to have 2 or 3 so that you can do the first one as a build up and the second one, you can really nail it, for example. So, I mean, for me personally, I don't know Lime Rock well enough to be able to go out really slowly and then just hammer the first corner super aggressively. And that's like the highest, most challenging, highest risk corner.
Yeah.
So it's nice if you have one warm up and then the second time through you kind of push a little bit more. So I always had a little bit left in one. I think I've probably got 2 or 3 tenths in one, that complex. But Lime Rock, we were talking about this. It's a short track, but every corner is very difficult. So corner 1, 2 is really tricky. That left is really tricky. Getting that kink right is really hard to time it right. And when you have a lot of power, to put that power down. Obviously, the right-hand jump turn is really difficult, foreshadowing.
Yeah,
and then
all hard.
The next corner after that is extremely difficult. In my Z, it's like to get that perfect, it's like a tiny window of braking and turn-in point. And any earlier, you're hitting the curb and you screw the exit.
Any curb too.
Any later, and then you've just totally lost all your speed. And then, of course, the last corner is big compression and very, very high commitment. So every single corner is really tricky at Lime Rock, whereas many other tracks, like Laguna, half the corners are just you could do with your eyes closed. There's only a few really tricky corners at Laguna, similar to most sports. So that's kind of why I like Lime Rock a lot, because it's like every lap, you're wanting more. You never did it. Like, it's been 3 years now at Lime Rock, and I've never once been like, that was an amazing lap.
Yeah.
Whatever level the car was at.
And you're never really bored either, because it's just corner after corner. And also, if you screw up your lap, you don't have to wait 2 minutes to start the next one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, specifically about that lap group thing, like at Lime Rock, you really just want, give me a couple more laps. I want to try again. Whereas at other tracks that have more of those easier corners, you'd be like, well, I did 80% of the corners perfectly. 2 of them weren't great. But at Lime Rock, even if you screw up one corner, you're like, oh man, that was a huge chunk of that short lap. Yeah. So anyway, enjoy the video. That's dragged on a bit, but we wanted to share with you a bit. I know many have asked for updates about Kels, so we thought we should sit down, talk to you guys a bit about what we've changed on the car, and now we're headed off to Laguna in a couple weeks. And the car is pretty similar to Laguna last year. So really, we just hope to have a similar outing as we did last year, and that would be really great. Yeah,